Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I've been editing my videos lately, getting ready to release this closet built-in, and it dawned on me that I've installed a lot of the Blum or Bloom, whichever way you prefer to pronounce it, drawer glides. And although I've shown it in the videos, I don't know that I've really gone through how they get installed. I'll be honest, I was a complete noob to them when I installed the first set, and they've since become my go-to glides. They are more expensive. There's just a ton of adjustability in them, and they really make more sense to use. And this is not a plug for them, but they are a very nice glide. So, to get drawer glides that work like this, let's go over to the bench. I made a little mock-up, and I'll show you how the installation and construction goes together. Okay guys, so what we have here is just a little mock-up that I made using the drawer glides. I had a couple leftovers from another project, so I just made this little mock-up so we could dive in a little closer to the details and show you exactly how these are installed, what you need, what you don't need, and kind of the way that I do it. Okay, so this is my mock-up. It's nothing super fancy, but it'll do the job. Obviously, with any case, it's important that things are square. And in this case, you'll see that I have the glides set back, and I have them set back the depth of my drawer front. So ultimately, your drawer construction has to be the same length as your guide, and that'll make sense here in just a couple of minutes. So if you were doing half-blind dovetails or through dovetails or whatever, then these may not be, they won't be set back as far, or maybe even not at all. So, but that'll make more sense here in just a minute. To get the width of the drawer opening, I like to take a couple of scrap pieces and set them in the glides and actually measure that width across there. Pull it from the piece. Don't pull it from drawings or measurements from a plan or whatever. Take it from the actual piece, and I'll actually measure across this distance, and that will become my drawer front. Installation of the glides themselves is just not rocket science. They give you lots of holes here. I usually only put 2 or 3 screws in. Depends on what the drawer's intended for. I do use a VIX bit to locate center in these holes. There's nothing worse than pilot drilling a little bit off center and having this glide move, and then later on down the road that culminates to your drawer front not doing what it's supposed to do. So your drawer box, the total construction needs to be the same length as your glide. So in this case, I'm 15 inches and I have 15-inch glides. Now remember, I said my glides were set back to account for this 3/4 piece of plywood drawer front that I tossed on here. This is all very rough and very quickly thrown together. So probably one of the most important parts of the drawer construction is to ensure that your rails are a 1/2 inch. As far as what you do on the back, if you want to completely encase the bottom, you can do that, but then you just have to notch out in the corners to allow those rails to go through. I prefer to just cut them off and put a screw in the bottom. But again, that's not the same way for every drawer. It all depends on your drawer construction. But the 1/2 inch rails all the way around except for the back are critical to everything working correctly. So I'm using the Rockler Jigget tool. It just happens to be the first one that I bought. And you follow the directions, slide it up here in your corner, use the supplied drill bit and pilot drill those holes. And that's really all there is to locating for the latches. Now the latches, there's a couple of different types, and this kind has the up and down adjustment here, but it does not have the side-to-side adjustment, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So once you've got those located, it's just a matter of putting your glides in. Okay, so again, using the Jigget tool, you have to have this hole in the back, and this back accepts the up and down adjustments in the drawers, and I'll show you that in a minute. And again, I'm just using the jig it tool again, and it sits right in there, and you locate that hole, and you use the supplied bit again to drill that hole. So these adjustments in the back tilt the bottom of the drawer up or down as you need. So if something was a little out of square or a little out of plumb, if you will, and your drawer front wasn't sitting in there right, you could raise or lower the backs of each one of these rails, which will tip. So if your drawer front was proud on the front and even on the bottom or a little shy on the bottom, then you could lower this down and draw that drawer in and get that adjustment. But that's what these two are. Now you notice the adjustment on this drawer has those little turn knobs on them. They allow for adjustment side to side of the rail and your drawer front. So on my mock-up, I didn't have this feature, but in the ones I did for the closet built-in, I had this feature on them, and they were sure handy for getting the drawer fit just super nice. And then assuming you followed all the directions and made your box square, locks in and functions like it should. So some of the Blum Drawer Glide kits that you can order come with the hardware and some don't. I'm a big fan of the Platte River screws here that number 6 by 5/8, and then they're a flathead screw. And I ordered a box, hopefully more than I'll ever need, but that's what I would recommend for fasteners for attaching the drawer glides, for attaching the latches, for attaching every part of these. So when attaching the drawer fronts, I like to use a couple of business cards, and I'll put them underneath each side to hold my spacing. I'll also do the same side to side and on the top. And that's how I cut my drawer front to fit the opening, and then I utilize the features within the Blum glides to adjust that drawer to where it fits as it should. Well, there you go, guys. It's a quickie mock-up. Nothing fancy. I'll disassemble it and throw it on the fire when I'm done. But I hope you got a little something out of that and take a little bit of the mystery out of how to install these glides. They're really not that difficult. Once you do one, you'll understand what I'm saying. Again, just what a wonderful glide. And they've really taken my projects to the next level. So until next time, guys, take care.